In this video, we will be discussing about variables. Imagine a child has several toy boxes, so that he can place all his toys in that particular box. And a child will label all the boxes, so that he can identify, so that as soon as he see that particular toy box, like he'll get the a child will come to know that this particular toy has been placed inside the box. So he might have labeled, or I mean, the child might have labeled some of the boxes like toy box, car box, and also like a building box. So the building box, where these boxes, where teddy box will contain the teddy bear, and car box will contain the playful cars, and building box will contain the some of the colorful building boxes. Clear? Here, why he is placing all such things inside the particular boxes? Because as soon as the child sees that box, the child will get to know that some item is being present inside the box. For example, if a child sees teddy box, then as soon as by seeing the label itself, child will come to know that teddy bear is been teddy bear is present inside teddy box. And also, as soon as he see the building box, he will get to know that some of the colorful building box blocks are present in the building box. Similarly, in Python, variables are like a label. How the child will identify the items present inside the box by seeing the label. Similarly, in Python, variables act like a label where the user can identify what type of data can be stored inside a variable. Yes? So, variable is just like a box in a computer memory where I can store either a single or a multiple values. Those multiple values stored variables are example like list, tuple, and dictionary, whereas a single value stored variables are integer, float, all those are single value stored variables. And how you differentiate, you'll get to know later. So one of the example is, here you can see cookies equal to 5. Here 5 is a value stored in a cookies variable. Cookies is a variable, so 5 is a value stored in a cookies variable, and we can store this value using equal to or assignment operator. And to define these variables in Python or to use these variables in Python, you have to be aware of the rules. Rules are mandatory to use the variables. So the first rule is start with so the first rule is start with so the first rule to define a variable is start with a letter or underscore. Any variable name must always start with a letter or underscore, but it cannot start with the digits. Yes. Here, this is one of the valid example. Name is a valid variable since it has started with a letter. That is, it may be a uppercase or a lowercase letter. And the second example is underscore temp. Here, this is a valid variable since it has started with the underscore. Always remember, except underscore, we cannot use any of the special characters. All the special characters are discarded except underscore. As we are seeing here, underscore is fine, but along with underscore, we have used at the rate, dollar, and exclamatory sign, right? So this is an invalid variable. And the first example, one name, is invalid because it has started with a digit. A variable cannot start with a digit, it can only start with a uppercase or a lowercase letter or underscore. And any other special characters are not allowed except underscore. And the second rule says that variable can start with the letters, numbers, and underscore. Exactly. Here you are seeing it. The example is user1 and my underscore var. Both are valid variables since it obeyed the rule. And the second example is my hyphen var. My hyphen var. Since it has a hyphen instead of underscore, so it is invalid. You can replace this with the underscore, then it becomes a valid variable. And and whenever you're creating a variable, the variable should not contain any spaces. especially while defining the first name, last name of a user. You might be like it will be a little hectic to write the complete thing as a single variable. First name. In such case, you can differentiate or you can provide a space using this underscore. This will differentiate between the word. For example, like first underscore name, last underscore name. Whereas this is completely wrong. First space name will treat complete. This will be treated as completely different. Instead of that, only first will be considered as a variable name. So whenever you try to provide the variable name as first space name, then it is wrong. And the last rule, sorry, last but sorry, not the last rule. The next rule is very important. That is, variables are case sensitive. Case sensitive means what? The uppercase and lowercase letters, the uppercase and lowercase letters are treated differently. Yes, here we are seeing name has been started with capital N or uppercase N, and here it has been started with a lowercase n. In a plain English, we know that both. Sorry, in a plain English, we know that both the words have same meaning. But in Python, since the initial letter has been differentiated with uppercase and lowercase, so Python treats both to be as a different. If you use this variable name, for example, let me give you an example like, yes, for example, if I write like this, name equals to John, consider name equals to John, yes, and I'll try to print using small letters. How I'll try to print? I'll print like this, name, Name, so that the so that the N is small letter. This N is lowercase, not uppercase. In such case, this don't work. This is completely wrong because the ASCII code for capital N or uppercase N is different, and the ASCII code for lowercase n is different. So, Python is a case sensitive. So, since it differentiates the uppercase and lowercase characters. Yes, and the last rule, which is very important, we have to not use any Python keywords as a variables. Variables are always user defined. Clear? So user defined means any variable name like A, B, C, or name has we have used here, as well as message which we are using here. Clear? So we have to not use any of the Python keywords or inbuilt keywords. Variable should always be a user defined name, and and make a note of this error. Here in this variable message, we are storing a string, that is, hello beginners, use variables. And I am trying to print the same, but it has shown me error. What is the reason? Because the variable what I am using in the print statement is different from what I have assigned. What's the difference? I missed a single S. You might be wondering, it is just a silly mistake, right? But that matters the most. Yes, even though if you miss out a single word also, you will get an error telling that the particular variable is not defined, or the word or this message is not defined. So in such case, like whenever you're handling such variables, you have to be careful. Yes, and here we have some of the valid and invalid variables. As I mentioned, you have to always store the value inside a variable so that the value matches with the variable. Here we have age equal to 25. Yes, instead of age equal to 25, here let me assign to a variable name age. This is considered as a valid variable. But the problem is, when I'm trying to code in a real world projects, in such case, take I cannot use such variables because it's difficult to remember what exactly we will be using during the initial phase. For example, here we assign age equal to 2, and this may be at line 1 or line 2. Consider like I am at some 300 lines. and I want to know the age of a person. And for age, I might be used, and for age, I might have used some other variable like like anything else, like B. So, and if I am in some 300th line, and if I want to know the age of a particular person, then what will come to my mind? The variable age. Yes, and when I'm trying to use this variable age, it may give me a error, or it may give me an error, or the output may be wrong. There are two chances because the age contains the value true, not the actual age of a person. The actual age of a person may be either 25, 30, whatever the user provides. So for this purpose, we have to always provide a value to a variable that links with the variable's name. As we are seeing here, is active. If it is active, then it is true, else false. Similarly, user 123, that is, it may be a user ID, and temperature underscore Celsius. All these are a valid variables. Coming to invalid variables, this is invalid variable because it is started with a digit. Since we cannot start a variable name with the digits. And the second one is invalid because it has a special character. Except underscore, we don't have any special characters in Python. I mean, all the special characters are discarded as a discarded for variables in Python. And dollar is not allowed for to use variable. And class is a keyword, so keywords cannot be used. Similarly, at data or at the rate data, except underscore, we cannot use any of the special characters. And first name, this is completely wrong because it has a space. When I replace this with first underscore name, then it is a valid variable. Similarly, none, even none is a Python keyword. So these are list of valid and invalid variables. So moving on to exercise. Here we have four programs where we can use variables, and let me try to solve the first two programs, and the next two programs need to be solved by you. Let's move on to VS Code. So the first program is to greet a person with name and age. Clear. So I'll create two variables. It is name, which will contain the name of a person. So, like whenever you're trying to use strings, you have to always store the strings within single or double quotes. Either you can use single or a double quotes. Clear? So, age equal to 25. This 25 is an integer. And so, what is the goal of the goal? We have to greet a person with his name and age. So, I'll try to print welcome, comma, name, welcome, John. You are just 25 to start business. Clear? Now try to execute this. Here, what we are doing, it will be printed as welcome, John. You are just 25 to start business. Here you are seeing in the output panel. Welcome, John. You are just 25 to start business. Here, what is happening? The name is being replaced with the actual value, and the age has been replaced with the actual age, that is 25 and John. And whenever you want to replace thing, whenever you want to replace, you have to always follow with the commas on both the sides. Clear? And this comma is optional, like if you want to extend it after, similarly, like if you want just something, if you want to extend this, then it's mandatory, or else if you just leave like this, then this remains fine. You can see here. Clear? This is one example. Other program which we wanted, what we wanted is to find area of rectangle. So what is the area of rectangle formula? Everyone knows it. Length into breadth. So there are two ways of writing this formula. What is this? Length. What is the length? For consider like if length is 15 centimeter and breadth is 14. Then area equal to length into breadth. Length into breadth. Now print area of rectangle, and the variable name used, and it is, sorry, area of rectangle, and it is stored in the variable area. Clear? Here you are seeing area of rectangle is 210. This is one way where I can where I am giving the input in on the console. But when if I want the input to be entered by the user, then what I have to do? Length, this will be override if I try to use the same variable name again. So length 1 equals to input, enter length of rectangle. Similarly, breadth 1 equals to input, enter breadth of rectangle. Clear? So that the user enters the length and breadth of a rectangle. Now we have to calculate. So we'll try to print. Let's calculate in the print statement itself. Area of rectangle. So what is the formula? Length 1 into breadth breadth 1. And other thing, always remember, like whenever you're trying to take the input value from the user, especially when you're entering any digits, that digit will always be taken as a string. Oh, this should come inside. I'll put it outside. Yeah, this looks fine. Now try to execute. You may encounter with error. Comment out everything, and let's run in this new terminal. Now enter the length of a rectangle. 15, breadth of rectangle is 14. You will get an error. So here we have entered the length of rectangle as 15 and breadth as 14, but we got error telling that cannot multiply sequence by non-int of type str, because whatever value you are entering, even if you enter a string value like 14, it will be taken as 14.0. So whatever you are entering, that will be taken as a string. So in such case, you have to convert this into float. As soon as the user enters the input, that will be converted to float. So this will provide you the accurate output. Now try to execute. Length of rectangle is 15 and breadth is 14. So the area of rectangle is 210. So this is how it works. Clear? Now we can solve the remaining two program, that is program to display details and program to swap two numbers with or without using third variable. Let me know if you get any error or if you're stuck anywhere. Let me know all those in the comments. Till then, keep practicing. Bye bye.